Hey guys, what is happening? This is TheSmooth Spy, and Witcher 3 Wild Hunt is finally released. Yes, finally! This game has been on my radar and the radar of gamers everywhere for a long time, especially if you play the older games. The other ones are like, The Witcher, what's this? But it's finally out, and right now I'm here to talk about how the game performs. Not really going to talk about how the game is because it's awesome. Just check anywhere and you'll find that. I want to talk about how it performs on all of the systems, and especially of course on the PC. Now I don't have all the hardware configurations to compare them all and do benchmarks. Unfortunately, I'm not rich and I'm just getting started, but what I can talk to you about is what the word of the mouth has been around on the web and what a whole bunch of other people that I know have experienced and my experience with it. So let's first off talk about the game's specs. Well, it does require a fairly beefy PC to, for the minimum of the recommended system requirements. I mean, you need a 770 just for the recommended in the graphics department. That's fairly high when it comes to cards. I mean, especially talking about your recommended. But here's the main important thing, guys. The game is well optimized. Once you hit your hardware, though, the game will run it'll run well. It's not like you have to hit the recommended to have it run at all. It actually runs. It runs well. Like from what a lot of people have been saying is a GTX 970 and a good CPU will allow you to get 60 FPS on a very high ultra, as long as you don't have the NVIDIA hair physics on, because that's what's going to cost you some frame rates. It's really cool, but if you don't want your frame rates to be cut in half, if you have it on all the way, yeah, just have that off. You don't need all the fancy hair. Well, I mean, if you do, then I hope you have a 980 or a Titan or some SLI configuration. But otherwise, you should be good. I mean, that says a lot. You have a 970, you'll get 60 FPS with everything pretty much bumped all the way up at 1080p. Give anything higher, obviously, you're going to need a 980, SLI, a Titan, whichever you want. But that's actually not bad at all, if you considering this game is like way on up there when it comes to high, which is good. And also, I mean, even if you're playing with lower hardware, like a 660 or whatnot, you're still going to get good frame rates at, I believe at a 660, if you play on high, you can get around 45 to 50 FPS, which is, it's not bad. Also, the word on the street is to have a GTX 770. You will be able to run things in Ultra just at 30 FPS. Now, that's interesting, of course, because, see, the consoles, they're at 1080p, well, one console is anyway, and you're only getting 30 FPS, and that's actually, I've been hearing a whole bunch of stories about frame rate issues being dropped to 22 FPS at times. 22 FPS, my gosh, that's horrendous. So yeah, I mean, this is a massive game. I'm really surprised they got it to work on the consoles at 1080p. The PS4 anyway. Xbox One had to be upscaled, which I was like, it doesn't really matter. Well, then you have one game where it does, and everybody's like, yeah, it's extra 100p, and we're on the PC just like 1080p. Yeah, that's just how it is. 1440p. Now there you go. To your 4K. But I'm on the 1440p bus myself. But anyways. So, I mean, that just goes to show how massive this game is and how the next-gen hardware is just really underwhelming when it comes to running the game. Sure, it'll run it fine. I'm not saying, oh, don't bother, peasants, PC Master Race, but I'm just saying it just goes to show that this leap from last gen to this gen wasn't as big, and that, we're going to see that as especially times go on, the PC is going to get more and more able to outdo the consoles at the price, as the price gets lower and lower. Now, I don't mean to go into the PC versus console debate, sorry, it just happens, But anyway, back to the game. Now, there were talks about how there was a downgrade in the visuals department when it comes to comparing it to the original E3 release gameplay. And yes, this is true. Unfortunately, this happens because they want to have it look like this, but then as they're getting closer to release date, they realize it's just not going to happen on the consoles. So they downgrade everything, and of course even the PC's affected because they always cater to the lowest common denominator, which of course is consoles, Xbox One. But I mean, it is what it is. Ultra is still gonna look amazing, guys. I mean, one thing though I have noticed is it's not as a demanding game in comparison to what The Witcher 2 was when it came out. The Witcher 2, man, when that thing came out, it was killing cards. It was killing PCs. I mean, it was just like you had to have like a high-end SLI configuration to be able to run that thing at Ultra when it came out. And I mean, it's still a demanding game when it comes as far as today. Like, there are some games that are much easier to run that came out than it. So I mean, it's still an amazing game as far as how it looks. It was, but this is much easier. I mean, you can run 1080p full HD, which is, yeah, that's what it is, on almost full Ultra with a single card. It's not even like a very high-end card. It's not like a Titan X. It's a 970. So that is, I'm not sure if that's optimization or just it's not as large as a leap from. Though, I mean, if you think about it, The Witcher 2 wasn't open world. It was you walk around a loading screen. It was a great game, but yeah, there were the loading screens, and also, The Witcher 3 is 35 times larger than Witcher 2. So I think that's just very well optimization, and just shows how amazing The Witcher 2 was for its time. And I gotta give the props to CD Projekt Red for doing that, because that's just amazing. So, what do we learn from all this talking? Well, we've learned that if you have, say, right around the recommended system requirements for the game, you should be able to run your game great, at least at console settings. For sure, you probably have something higher. Either you want the higher visuals of the frame rate, up to you. But of course, that's awesome about being on the PC. So that is your choice. So overall, yep, the game is awesome. It runs great. Has some issues on the consoles. Now, here's something real quick I want to talk about. It's very well optimized for the green team, as in Team NVIDIA. Though I have not heard a lot from the red team as far as AMD goes. NVIDIA usually has some extra bells and whistles and more optimization when it comes to the games as of recently. So, well, I'm hoping for all the AMD guys that they're having a great time, not having any issues, because that just sucks. I mean, come on, guys. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Hope you are enjoying The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, and be sure to like this if you liked it, and let me know down below your system specs and your graphical settings and frame rates, because I'm interested to hear about how everybody's doing with this. And of course, everybody, be sure to subscribe. You want to hear more from me, and be sure to take care.